Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know Paul Couvert, he's a guy that sells ice cream in France. No, just joking. He's actually an AI expert. He has a pretty small account of 180,000 followers on Twitter. He knows what he's doing. So I wanted to get a couple of his opinions on some important AI topics today. Thank you for joining us, Paul. Why not just get into the meat of the discussion today and ask the first question that everybody's wondering about Paul? When did you start doing origami and how?
I've done a lot of origami in the past, to be honest.
Hello, Paul. Welcome to my little show, AI Stars. Thank you for joining us, Paul. Do you
Thanks a
want to
lot,
say
Alex.
hello to our audience?
Of course, of course. Hi to everyone, and thanks, Alex, for the invitation. Of course, it's a pleasure to participate in your podcast emission interview. Let's say.
We're here to have fun, okay? We're here to have fun with the AI boys. For the public out there, we had like half an hour problems of technical type, but we managed to figure it out because we're both tech experts. So
Of
everything
course.
is fine now. So why not just get into the meat of the discussion today and ask the first question that everybody's wondering about, Paul? When did you start doing origami and how?
I've done a lot of origami in the past, to be honest. It was like when I was like 10 to 15 years old, I was doing a lot of origami. It was like a passion for me, like hundreds and hundreds of origami.
That's great because I also did it. Well, now when I was 10, when I was like 25, and I love them, and my like desk was like full of them in Italy. So we have something in common. You see, people, the AI guys love origami. The more you know. Now, let's talk about something a bit like less significant, but maybe you want to know some facts about this. So what we do on this show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, is like we try to have a human conversation with AI experts. So I want to know a bit the perspectives of Paul. How did he started his entrepreneurial journey? Because he has great success. So I'm talking about the man on the other side of the cam, by the way. He is Paul. So the question I would have, for example, like what inspired you to start business? Because I mean, you're quite young. That's the thing. So people maybe would expect you to still be in college or something like that. You're super young. So you didn't start with AI to begin with, but something must have inspired you to start business, entrepreneurship. Give us a
Yeah.
couple of tips, or what was your journey?
To be fully honest, it was kind of selfish at first, to be honest.
Oh,
So I was
spicy.
at the end of my studies, and I didn't see myself into like a classic 9 to 5 jobs. To be fully honest, because I want this like geographic freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to travel, and it was kind of incompatible in my perception with the 9 to 5 jobs. Of course, now you can have like a remote job, and a lot of person love doing this type of work. But on my side, and I was even younger, entrepreneurship was the only way to achieve this specific goal of geographic freedom. So yeah, I start my own business with this objective in mind. And
Location dependence, right? I think that's how they call it, like location dependence. Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Ah.
So that's my first, let's say, that's what inspired me to start my own business at first.
And by the way, for the folks out home there, like actually Paul went from France. He acquired this location dependence. And where are you now? Where did you land?
I live
You're
in
in the
Bulgaria.
USA, right? You're in New York, right? On
Yeah,
top of
yeah,
a
yeah.
skyscraper.
The Statue of Liberty is just in front of me. Not at all. Not at all. No, I live in Bulgaria. I love this country, Eastern European country.
I love it because I also lived there since like 4 months. People come to Bulgaria. We love it here. It's great, tax purposes. But yep, it's a great place to be. We met in Sofia. It was a great time. Right.
Absolutely.
Thank you for explaining this to us because I think it was important to get a bit your perspective on this. Maybe other people want to follow your tracks. You know, they're thinking, yep, I also tried maybe already 9 to 5. And I was like, well, I want a bit more. I think I can do more. So what you did was brave and actually also quite successful. So that's cool of you. But the thing is, you had different businesses and then you ended up with AI. Now, is it okay if you take us a bit through your journey of different businesses to the point where you started with AI? And then I'm going to ask you a follow up question to that.
Sure, sure. So my first business actually was e-commerce one, to be honest,
Hmm.
kind of drop shipping. So I found like specific niche on Google, especially. So I said, okay, people want this type of product, but anyone are selling them or bad quality or something like this. So I have this problem to solve. Actually, I can bring the right product in front of their eyes using SEO and Google. That was my first business, and that's how I discovered AI. Not totally related, but I come to this point because when you write some SEO content for your product descriptions, for your blog post, SEO, etc., you have to write a lot of different content, and of course
Yeah.
you have to spend a lot of time doing this. So I start using like Copy AI and the playground of OpenAI early 2022 to start trying to automate this part of the
Yeah.
business to be more efficient. In fact, so that's how I discovered AI.
Ah, that's super interesting. Okay, because like this was my follow-up question basically. So the thing like one is there a specific moment in your experience that ignited this interest in you in AI? And I guess you answered this because you're like you tried already this like ChatGPT playground, open AI, and they're like, hey, this thing is pretty decent. Because that's the experience I had. This again like last year. Because I talked about chatbots in 2017. It was not cool. Nobody cared. But then I tried ChatGPT last year, and I was like, this is miles ahead of all the current chatbots on the market. And I was like, nah, this is something big.
Yeah.
So that's why like and it's actually super cool because like I think all the guests I had at this point in the podcast or show, whatever this is, like they told me, yeah, I tried ChatGPT last year. I was like blown away by it, and then I started it. And like everybody got success with this. Like I love it. I love it. And it makes a lot of sense. All right. Now, so you got into AI. You got some good success with it, but was there a first big success with it or an indicator that this will work when you started as a solopreneur? Because I mean, we need to consider, right? There's like many people who want to start solopreneurship or they're already doing it, but they don't know what exactly to do or what is the like a breakthrough. In your case, was there a specific moment when you had like, this clarity or like this is gonna work? I have
Mhm.
something big here. I wanna double down on this that you can tell us?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's quite important, in fact, to have like some specific indicators that you can track to say, okay, it's gonna work, or I'm in the good way to achieve the specific goal. And in my case, it was very simple, in fact, because I was doing SEO and e-commerce product. So you have when you I don't want to be too much technical on SEO part, but basically you can track your position on Google. You can say, okay, my web pages now is top one or top three of Google results.
The ranking, right?
Absolutely, it's a ranking, SEO ranking. And for me, it's kind of like magic. So you can track your position into Google, and the more position you have, the more top pages you have, the more visitors you have on your website and customers. So basically, it was my personal indicator, track my position in the SEO market, let's say like this.
hmm So I guess like that's how you develop this mindset, right? Of being like results oriented or have like a specific goal in mind, right?
Yeah.
So you got success with this, I guess, and then you went into AI. You saw the benefits and you doubled down on this. So at this point, where was it in AI that you noticed your first big success or your first, like, I don't know, a sign that you're like, hey, I should invest much more time into AI? What happened there?
That's interesting. So I want to. I had like let's say two e-commerce stores with my collaborator and partner at this time, and we split at a certain point. Shout out to him; he was a very good partner. But I want to start creating e-commerce business and websites in general way more faster. In fact. I want to pass from the point when you have to spend like 1 month to create a complete e-commerce website to, let's say, 1 week. And what's the best
Mm.
way to do that when you have to write a lot of different content is to use AI. ChatGPT
Oh, I
wasn't.
thought writing on paper. Oh, no, okay. Sorry, my bad.
If you have some kind of secret strategy, yeah, we can talk
Yeah,
about.
I do. I do actually, because you can write on paper and you can feed it to GPT Vision and it can literally build
Right,
it for you, like the
that's
website and
right.
stuff like that. Aha, I got you.
It's a
Yeah,
good
but
way.
sorry, you were saying so? You wanted to make these websites faster, right? You wanted to create these
Absolutely.
businesses much more automated.
Exactly. So at a certain point, I start using like make.com to automate certain part of the business. But for the writing part, I need some kind of magic to help me to write this SEO content more efficiently. And that's why I start using the playground, because ChatGPT wasn't here, basically early 2022. The playground and copy AI, which is like a kind of specialized into the writing using
Yeah,
AI.
like Jasper, for example. I think they do like similar thing,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
There are two competitors.
Okay. And that, I guess, worked out pretty well because you decided to do more and more of this thing.
Absolutely. It was very, very well. And it was kind of surprised because you didn't know when you try something how Google will react with this type of content, etc. Um, but it worked well. In fact, it worked very well. And that's why I start my Twitter account to share my wow, this kind of stuff.
Insights, yeah.
Wow, I was just amazed.
And there's some real magic happened because I think you kind of exploded. Tell us a
Yeah,
bit about this Twitter journey. What happened there? I wasn't there in the beginning. I joined in May, but you can
man.
tell me a bit start. What happened?
Yeah, I start
Who
actually.
convinced you to join Twitter? What happened there? We're like at the night out drinking with friends, like, hey, you should get a Twitter account and follow Kanye West.
Kind of. No, no, no. I was talking to Florian, which is a good
That
friend of
guy who
mine.
eats like pizza with pineapple. My God, savage.
Nobody's
I'm gonna get
perfect.
him on this interview just to insult him.
Let's go. Let's head into this conversation.
By the
So,
way, folks, we're talking about Floren Camiat. That's how you pronounce. I suck with
yeah,
French.
it's
So he's
just
going to be a victim of my podcast in the future. Just let him know. But you were going, so yeah. You talk with
yeah.
Florian?
So Florian is like a kind of an expert of personal brand, etc., and was very successful, not himself, but for friend of him in TikTok, Instagram, like the short format at the
Yeah.
very beginning. And he said to me, "Yeah, let's start this kind of format for AI." And I said, "Okay, that's actually a good idea. It's a different exercise, a different experience." But I will start at the same time LinkedIn and Twitter. So like the short format on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts, and at the same time Twitter and LinkedIn. And
Uh-huh.
Twitter just blew up in like few weeks, let's say. It was just crazy.
Yeah, I would say like 180,000 followers later, you're like, yeah, Florian, I think that was a good idea to try out,
Definitely.
these like short form content, like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, shout
Yep.
out to him because
Algo
definitely the
gods
best
gave
idea.
you blessed. Right. Okay. Now let's go into more boring stuff that's gonna maybe help our audience make some money. I don't know, but you gave me yesterday two very good tips. We were talking about this in the spaces that I joined, and I really love that. And even repeating that, I think will give us a lot of value. When we talk about what strategies would you implement to grow and scale the business,
Mhm.
especially if you talk about AI. You gave me two tips. You can change them. I'm not forcing you to repeat the same exact words, but those were golden. Up to you, though. You have complete flexibility, but please repeat them word by word.
Yeah, yeah. No pressure, no pressure.
It's
Uh,
fine.
yeah. So the first one, in my opinion, which is the most important, you have to first start small. Let's say you have to identify like a specific task, uh, which is like you spend too much time on it, right? And you feel like you can automate it in a way. And AI, like 90% of the time, you can automate it using AI. And it's kind of related to my second point, which is automate. In fact, automate using AI, because AI is here to automate low value tasks. And when you automate this low value task, you can focus on the high value one. Basically, it's just very
Right.
simple. It's part of the Pareto law, right? If our audience know it, like it's 20% of your work brings you basically 80% of your results, and you have to
Exactly.
focus on this 20% and automate or find a way to make easier the 80% of other parts.
Which is exactly how we use it, for example, as content creators, right? You use AI to schedule the post for the next days and the next weeks. You have it all planned out. So it works great, folks. I can
Yeah,
certify that. Yeah. I planned all my content calendar. And by the way, these were not the original two tips. He actually was telling me yesterday evening, like just drink a lot of alcohol, go in the woods, but he didn't mention this like on the podcast today. So cheers to you.
You're welcome. But
But yes, it was very good what you mentioned again with like the automation, because the thing is, the less time you spend, as Paul is saying, on like low leverage tasks, right, that take away your time, the more time you can be spending on like improving your sales funnels, improving your product offerings and creation and stuff like that. And these drive real value, real leverage, right? Because there's one thing of just like taking so much time to post every day on social media, and something very different like creating a course, creating a business, creating a software that actually can monetize what you do. So by using, for example, these automations, right, to make some posts, to create some newsletters and stuff like that, you would have time to create more value for people. That's how I see it. And I think also Paul is on the same page here, right?
definitely, definitely. For me, it's literally the best way to scale your business. To start, it's kind of different, but to scale your business or to grow it, it's the best way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. These are some very quite valuable insights. Yeah, once you think about it more deeply and you start applying them. So people apply them. It's not enough that you bookmark my articles and his articles and post whatever. Apply those prompts. Thank you. That's fine. You can decide. Now another different question, because I'm always kind of curious about this when I ask my guests. The thing is, because you started also like me with AI since last year, and the question, let's see a bit how your thought about this change, right? The evolution of this. Were there any misconceptions that you had initially about AI, and how did these change with time?
So yeah, first I start using AI. So let's say end of 2021, early 2022, right? And in my mind at this time, I was thinking like AI is for big company only. It costs a lot to use, and it's quite maybe hard. You have to be like a technical expert into AI
Yeah,
to use this kind of tools. Of course, today it's totally different because you have like a very, very different chatbots, Bard or ChatGPT. It's very, very easy to use. But at this time, I was like, okay, how can I automate these tasks? It should be quite difficult to plug an API or to
yeah.
maybe train my own model. I didn't know at this time. And so it was a misconception, even in early 2022, in fact.
Mm. And then pretty much everything changed because nowadays you have like 50 tools every 24 hours
Yeah.
launching. So you're like, I don't know anymore what to leverage here, what to try out. So this would be my following question at this point, because you mentioned some great points. 'Cause like now again, now it's like a lot easier to, as a solopreneur, to automate a lot of these tasks. You have a lot more tools there, guidance. But for people interested, right? So they see our podcast today, they get a bit of inspiration, would be nice. But if, and they want to dive deeper, they want to dive deeper in the world of AI. What would you recommend to them? Like, where would you recommend them to start, or like what resources, or maybe a course or something like that that maybe helped you a bit? What
Mhm.
suggestions would you give to these people, like beginners or maybe even advanced? Where should they focus their learning efforts with? Because you're an
Yeah.
AI educator at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's not forget that AI is a tool. It's not a business model. It's not like a money printer. It's a tool at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, the best way to let's say start using AI and the right path to do it is to identify a specific task, as I said previously, that you feel you can automate, and it's very specific to your own business. For example,
Yeah.
if you are in e-commerce, it's quite different if you are a content creator or in the affiliation business, etc. So let's say follow, for example, on Twitter or on Google News or whatever, something very specific to your business model and think, okay, how can AI help me to automate this part of my business? And next, just take like prompts or methods or this kind of stuff from people like Alex or me or very, very good people on AI.
Florian also, when he doesn't eat pizza with pineapple.
Yeah, yeah. Just this. And let's merge basically AI with your current business. That's, in my opinion, the best way to do it. That's what I did, in fact, with my e-commerce business. And it's more like a task approach and not an AI approach.
That's great. I love that one, like a task approach, not an AI approach. Because before our call here, I actually had like a client consultation call, and I noticed these recurring patterns where people are completely overwhelmed by AI, me included sometimes, right? Because you see all these tools every day, all these resources, guides, and you're like, you save them, you want to learn them, but it's way too much. And what I find that people are willing, for example, for those that want to start, what are people willing to pay money for and get help with is actually with packaging all this knowledge in specific uh, niches, for example, exactly as Paul is saying, right? So you want to help, for example, the busy marketer. You want to help the freelancer that does graphic design. So you're not going to help everybody with what you do, but if you manage to properly package use cases, right? How can they use these 5 tools to save every week like 10 hours of their time? You are sitting on gold here. This is how it works for my consulting, basically, because people see my content. Of course, they ask me for specific advice, and me taking the time to give them these specific use cases, these specific prompts and tools, that's where the real value lies. So it's exactly as Paul is saying. I can confirm this for those looking for clients out there. It's the use case, the practice. It's task oriented, not AI oriented. You should always keep that in mind.
Totally
Nice one.
agree.
I'm going to copy that one. Thank you. No, I'm going to credit you, maybe. Right.
Maybe.
And given your current observations right now, because also I think you're pretty knowledgeable with social media and stuff like that, at least on Twitter, maybe for people who want a bit of inspiration, where do you see things developing? Also, you've been on Twitter for a bit more time than me. So if we think about social media, how it's developing, and the AI, where do you see it slowly going towards in the next, I wouldn't say 5, 10 years because we have no idea. The singularity is going to happen. We're all going to live on Mars, whatever. We have no idea. But like, in the next months, what evolution are you seeing on these platforms with social media and AI?
Okay. So first, it's hard to say with social media, even for AI, but AI are more like, let's say, clues for AI. But for
Yeah, yeah.
social media, it's kind of difficult to predict, in fact, because Elon basically just blew up everything in just few months, and even Meta and Zuckerberg, who was like more like a conservative approach about social media, now starts implementing like paid features and this kind of stuff.
Mm,
So let's say I think like every social media platform or every social media group will try to implement as much as feature as possible, in fact. For example, live streaming,
yeah,
possibility to publish short video formats, vertical ones, and in my opinion, that it's probably the best way as a creator to start today is to try, as I did, in fact, every format, just try the format because you don't know. Probably the short format didn't work well for you. Twitter will work best,
yeah.
or the opposite. You never know. But yeah, that's it for social media. I'm not fully an expert because it's not even a year
It's fine.
since I started.
All
Um,
right. So you just got like 180,000 followers, like no big thing, but like that's fine. So it's like
I'm not
nice.
an expert, to be honest.
The algo gods have been generous with me. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks, Elon. Just had a phone call with Elon. Elon, can you please add 100,000 followers on my account? Thank you. Bye.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's
That's
it.
how it went, folks. I was in that room when he made that phone call. He's going to deny it now, but that's
That's
how it
right.
happened.
That's right. That's right. It was
Right.
algorithm, but also good people. To be honest, I very quickly met like Hassan or Hicham Aider, and these people was very very kind to post comments or this kind of stuff to make visibility on my post. So good people, just connect with people on social media is the most important
All
part.
right.
Because at the
I'm
end
going
of
to
the
go
day, it's
pester them after. Yeah, I'm going to go pester them after this interview. It's like, hey, by the way, Paul talked well about you. Get on my show right now.
they're good people. They're good people. Love them.
All right, nice. Now, I have just a few remaining questions. Actually, to be honest, like my questions ended a while ago, but we're just like improvising here because I like your answers. From a human perspective, though, because I mean, you're also a human, folks. He's real. I'm not sure though. Maybe it's a hologram. We have no
You
idea.
never
But
know.
giving the previous technical issues we had, I think he's a human, but you're not going to see those parts. You as a person, for example, are there any favorite books that you have, or like movie series or something that inspire you, that you really like, that you would like to share with the audience that they should also try to check out? For example, in my case, I'm a big fan of Isaac Asimov, the books with, like iRobot and these ones, which are great ones. Shows, I don't watch a lot of Netflix, to be honest, but like, I don't know, give us something of your material, something that you would like to the audience to know about what you do or what you like, if you want to share.
Sure,
Please
sure,
do.
sure. To be honest, I'm not a great reader, or I don't consume like Netflix shows and this kind of stuff. I listen to some podcasts, French ones mostly, to be honest. But I have a great book, especially if you plan to start as a solopreneur. And as a solopreneur, like for every company, the most important part at the end of the day is marketing. You have to sell products or services. And to start with marketing, but more with a psychological approach. In fact, you can try to read like it's Influence by Robert Cialdini. This book is just amazing. You will start to
Classic.
understand the psychology of the and the marketing, but not in a selling point of view, but more like a psychological one. It's a really, really interesting. And if you plan to sell anything like services, products, you should definitely read this one.
That is an absolutely great suggestion. I read that book, I think, like 4 years ago in Belgium, and it's been absolutely like a mind blowing to me because like I started reading that book as a defense mechanism because it was telling you, oh, how the marketers use these principles that always work and how you can defend yourself. And after reading that book, like my whole perspective, on like on products and stuff like that changed because you notice the patterns, with like when you talk about leveraging, like authority, exchanging favors, stuff like that. There's like I think six principles in the end. I don't remember the exact names to them, but I have them in my mind, in my heart, everywhere. Like I remember them. But it's an absolutely banger suggestion. Yeah, for all solopreneurs, like you should read that book. I even went one step further and I read the new one, which is like Persuasion from
Oh,
him
okay,
that he did,
interesting. I need to read this
which
one.
is like, yeah, it's a good one because what you will learn from that one is actually how we are persuaded before even deciding. So there's a lot of things that you can do before, for example, right, when you use these principles, like showing people authority, or showing, for example, with videos specific benefits in your products, and they will get, for example, influenced by these in their future decisions. For example, I noticed this because he mentioned some examples in this book, like persuasion, where you're like, for example, seeing advertising of, I don't know, alcoholics or stuff like that in the evening when you're tired, and you're going to start thinking about more because it's going to be like top of mind. So you're like, I had a really long day though, I might grab a beer or something. It's like I never thought of it like that, but it's genius once you start noticing these patterns of the human brain. So that's a great suggestion. Like you cannot go wrong by reading Robert Cialdini, folks. Try it out. I even recommended it to one of my clients. He loved it. He commented after that, like, Alex, you Cialdini'd the hell out of me in the DMs. So like, it just worked, folks. I'm just telling you. But use it in an ethical way. It's used for
Yeah.
defense. Don't just like go out there and sell people golden peas or I don't know what you're gonna sell. All right. So I think that's about it for the time we had today because we wasted like half an hour with technical issues. So my bad and whatever, but it's been great to have you here, Paul. Where can we find you, and tell us what great services do you offer for people out there that want to get your help? I want a list of your full services.
I have not so much, in fact.
Do you make croissants?
Not myself, unfortunately.
Disappointed. I have to cut this out. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, give us some automation, some consulting services that you do, or like where we can find you. What do you want to share?
Yeah, sure. So, of course, on Twitter, at it's Paul AI, that's the best way to contact me by DM. I try to answer to everyone, kind of hard to be honest, but I try to. Or on LinkedIn, if you were a message on LinkedIn, so you can try on LinkedIn also. And from a services perspective, I offer mostly like companies, companies consulting and automation services and all this kind of stuff. Maybe some courses, interesting courses in the future. Keep in touch. But
We can work on that. I have some ideas. Yeah. All right.
let's talk about it with
And you
pleasure.
also have a newsletter, right? I think, which is like super valuable. You try to, what does this newsletter talk about?
It's all about AI tutorial. I try to take a specific topic, which is you can apply directly. In fact, you can read and apply directly what you learn. So yeah, you have also the newsletter. That's right. Alex know my services better than me.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing all this value with us today, Paul. You've been great. I hope in the future you're going to make some croissants for us. I don't know, make a video of that, how you automate that. And yeah, we'll see how you develop in the future. You're going to reach 200K, I think, soon. Good luck with your consulting. I think you're on a great path. And see you on Twitter, I guess.
Of course. Thanks again. Ciao.